viewers, good afternoon, it's good morning, good evening, wherever you are from the part of the world. It's a pleasure to have you here. Your tutor is here, Essie. Thank you for logging on to my YouTube channel, Learn Economies, with me on Topical TV. So today our subject or our topic of discussion today is the branches of economies around the world, everywhere. It is a known fact that we have two major branches of economies, and these are the microeconomies and the macro economy. So let's go further into this. When we say micro, what do we mean? Like, in all sense, it means very small quantity, smaller quantity, smaller version, smaller aspect. Why the macro means a larger, in a larger, or in a bigger, or in a very larger form. So with regards to economies, we're going to take a look at this, what they mean, the advantages, the disadvantages, and other branches of economy. So that is our subject for today. So first and foremost, microeconomics means smaller units of economy, which involves the individual, the household, the firm, and the government. These are the four, like, the smallest units of the micro aspect of the economy. So what the microeconomics does is it's ensuring that the component of this unit are used very well in ensuring that everything works very fine as far as the economy is concerned. So we're looking at the advantages of this micro economy. What are the advantages? Why are they significant? Whether I would like it or not, the smaller version of a thing sometimes has a way of affecting or portraying the larger aspect of it. If you look at life, we grow from the smaller. That is why you have to start from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As you begin to ascend, you get a broader understanding and knowledge of it. So the foundation always give you a broader I would say a broader, or it tells you how the future of the result will eventually be. So some of the advantages of the microeconomics is that with the microeconomics you have a better understanding of the whole economy. When the micro aspect is doing very, very well, you're so sure. When the micro aspect is doing very, very well, you're so sure that the macro will do well in all its form, except there is something unseen or unknown So number 2 is making of policies. When you have a good microeconomic principles, economics, and all of that, it helps in making good policies. It helps in letting the government or the aggregate form of the government know, you see what, this aspect is working well, so let's do this policy. This policy will work for us. It will work for us, because those four, they are what determines the macro aspect of it. The knowledge of the vibrant sector with the microeconomies, the firms, the government. You could see the vibrant part of the economy, like you have maybe small scale industries, manufacturing industries. So once they are doing well, once you see them, they determine their profit at the end of the year. You can see those that are doing very well, and these are what we use in managing the macro aspect of it. Then development of economic tool. In every nation, economic tool is very required in ensuring that there is stability, there is equilibrium in the economy. So all of these, some of these and more, are the advantages of the micro economy. So it has, of course, as similarly as good it is, there is a disadvantages in quote. There are some things that will definitely have a disadvantage, or why it will not work. Number 1 is unreliability of data. With human beings, sometimes you expect data not to be very, very unreliable for same reason. But of course, as you can see, the advantages outweighs the disadvantages. So now we move to the other aspect of economics, the branch of economics, and that is the macro economy. So like we had there, it says it deals with the larger unit or aggregate of the economy, like the national income, whatever all the manufacturing industries are bringing in, what all banking industries are. It deals with the aggregate in total, a summary of what we have learned all here. This is where it is transcended into. So it is very, very important. And what does it do? It helps to ensure that we know the inflation rate and the monetary policies of the state, unemployment rates, those things that affect individually that has transcended into it. It helps us to have a good understanding of them. So let's look at some of the advantages of this is even distribution of income. With the good macroeconomic principles, we have a very even distribution of income. So they look at it, they look at the micro principles, they look at everything and say, okay, this is where this is needed in this area, this is needed in this area. Then full employment. Yes, some parts of the country, like there is the unemployment rate is so high. People are underemployed, people are not employed. So it's as a result of not using the macro principles very well. That's why we have a deficiency in those areas. Provision of goods and services with good micro and macro principles, everything's go around within the country, within the economy and everything. So then the monetary policies that has to do with the CBN and how they regulate money in the economy, the banks and the money in the economy. Then of course, balance of payment. There is a good balance of payment. The budget system is working where the budgets are working, where the bills, the finance bill, all the bills, they are working very well. Then they have price stability. There is inconsistent. There will be lack of inconsistency in prices. To not today inflation, tomorrow inflation. No disparity. So looking at the advantages of the macro economies, like I was even studying before now, I realized that if economies, if nations of the world take a critical look at this and they let corruption not involved in whatever they're doing, and they act on this very well, they would be able to ensure that the economy is living very, very well, that there's stability in the economy. Of course, it also has some disadvantages, but like we already said initially, and also in this form, the advantages of it outweigh the disadvantages. Statistical difficulties, of course, bringing numerical ability numbers together is not an easy task. So it has to go through a lot of procedures, and sometimes without good policies, without good principles, those things can never be achieved. I would say these are some of the things, or some of the we are experiencing in developing nations. That is why things like it backward and stagnant, negative grouping of data. Again, this has to do with some nations of the world where things are not put in preference or in order of preference. So these are some of the things that happen. So yes, that being said, aside these major ones, these are the two major ones. But again, when we go further, you have other branches of economics. But this will get to know as we grow older, as we begin to learn more about economics, maybe in higher institutions, when you decide to take it as a course of study. And some of these type of economics we have the pure economists, like you just someone say, okay, I'm going to study economics, then he or she has an interest in a particular field of economics. Maybe after your bachelor's degree, you say, okay, this is the aspect of economics I want to do, this is what I want to learn. So you might become an expert or a specialist in that. But of course, first and foremost, in your bachelor's degree is a generalist. Then why you have applied economics, you have mathematical economics. So it depends on your interest. You have in business economics, you have development economics. So all of these are the things that we have to learn about the branches of economics and how they affect our day-to-day life, the advantages and the disadvantages. So with this, we come to the end of today's lesson. I hope we were able to grasp and have a full understanding of the micro and macro economics, and I'm also sure that looking at some of these things, you just realize that if the nations of the world put them to you very well, the economy will be stable in the long run. Until I come here with again, I am your girl, Media. Thank you for sharing this time with me. Do have a very, very pleasant day. Bye.